Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to meditate few minutes. After the meditation, we have a Dhamma talk. It's going to give our good friend Ananda Coronado. Right now, I'd like to invite to Venerable Panyaloka to lead the loving kindness meditation.
Thank you, Bhante. Happy Sunday to every one of you. Now we are going to practice the loving kindness meditation. Before that, take a moment to relax yourself. Let your bodies to be relaxed. Let your minds to relax. Breathe in slowly and breathe out slowly. You can close your eyes and continue the meditation. You can expand your loving kindness to the whole universe, beginning from yourself, from your breath, to the whole body, from your sensations to the entire body. You can also spread loving kindness thoughts from your family members to the whole universe. Breathe in slowly and breathe out. May my mind be filled with the thoughts of loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy and equanimity. May I be free from enmity. May I be free from ill will. May I be generous. May I be gentle. May I be relaxed. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be healthy. May my heart become soft. May my words be pleasing to others. May my actions be kind. You can spread like this loving kindness thoughts to yourself. Reflect on your energy. You can reflect on your good behavior, your good thoughts, You can reflect on how you care people, only the good qualities you have so far developed. May all that I see, hear, smell, taste, touch and think help me to cultivate loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy and equanimity. May all these experiences help me to cultivate thoughts of generosity and gentleness. May they all help me to relax. May they inspire friendly behavior. May these experiences be a source of peace and happiness. May they help me to be free from fear, tension, anxiety, worry and restlessness. Like this, you can spread these loving kindness thoughts to yourself. No matter where I go in the world, in any direction, may I greet people with happiness, peace and friendliness. May I be protected in all directions from greed, anger, aversion, hatred, jealousy and fear. May my parents, Dharma teachers, brothers and sisters, well-wishers, and even my enemies be free from enmity, ill will and grudge. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May no problems come to them. May they all be happy, healthy and peaceful. Spread loving kindness thoughts like this to your beloved ones and to the beings, every being in the universe. Take a moment to practice silent meditation through loving kindness thoughts. When you hear the bell, you can open your eyes and close your meditation. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful.
Thank you, Panyaloka, leading the meditation. Right now, time for the Dhamma talk. Our speaker today, Ananda Coronado. Ananda, you can start your talk now.
Testing. Hyundai. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming on this Sunday morning. Thank you, Bante, for trusting me to give this talk today. I am very happy. It gives me a lot of joy to come and to share the Buddhism. One time the Buddha said, Sabadana Dhammadana Jinati. That means that the gift of Dhamma excels all other gifts. And so for me, it's a great joy to come and to share this today with you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I hope you have a great, happy week. So before that, I have to pay my respects to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. It's very important to pay respects to the Buddha, especially in my case, because my talk is coming mostly from the suttas. So a long time ago, when I barely started to learn about Buddhism, right away I loved the story of the Buddha. I had a lot of faith in the Buddha, but there was things that were difficult to understand, especially living in the West. And one of those things was an idea in Buddhism called no self, anatma. In Mahayana and in Sanskrit, they call it sunyata, and that means voidness. So even though I had a lot of faith in the Buddha, I would always ask the monks, or I would ask my dad, how to understand that no self. Haven't you ever heard of Descartes? He said, I think, therefore I am. There has to be a self. So it was hard for me to understand until I found a sutta that explained it well. So today, I want to share about that sutta. And they say that the measure of a good talk is how much people remember it after you give the talk. So I want to break my talk into 3 pieces. The first one, I want to explain this anatma. The second part, I want to explain a sutta where the Buddha explains it. And then the third part, I want to explain how we can practice this idea. So, anatma, if there's no self, then what is there? The Buddha said that there's the 5 aggregates, the skandas. And the skandas, it means bundle or heap. So the 5 skandhas, or what the Buddha says is the self, or in other words, like what we can consider the self, is number 1 is the body, number 2 is the feelings, number 3 is the perceptions, number 4 is the thoughts, and number 5 is consciousness. In Pali, it's rupa, vedana, sanya, sankara, and vijnana. Before I decided to give this talk, I wanted to give a talk because I love history. I wanted to give a talk about a Greek king who had met a Buddhist monk and who had asked him this question about the self. And that monk explained to the king, his name was King Menander. He told the king that what is the chariot? Is the chariot the wheel? Is the chariot the reins? What part of the chariot is the essence of the chariot? There is no essence. The whole thing together is what makes a chariot. Just like a car. You can't take the engine out and then it will be a car, or you can't take the wheels off and it will be a car. So we're the same. We have all of these aggregates together, which makes what the Buddha said an illusion of self. So I wanted to give that talk, but unfortunately I looked at that book and it was like this big. So I said, nah, better, I'm just gonna stick to this one. And these 5 aggregates, the Buddha said that we cling to them, and because of our clinging to these things, we suffer. So this is very easy to see where people, they cling to their bodies. They're always trying to fix their bodies up. They're always trying to maintain their youth. But no matter what you do, you're still going to get old. So the Buddha said that a lot of our suffering and pain comes from our clinging to these things, our clinging to things that are impermanent. So maybe right now, the sutta can explain this better than I can. So I'm going to start with the sutta. It's a very interesting sutta, a very nice story. So the sutta begins in this ancient Indian city of Vesali, in the kingdom of the Vajjayans. The Buddha was staying at the capital city. And during this time, there was a person named Sachaka. And Sachaka was a native of that city, and he was considered by many to be a saint. And Sachaka was also considered a very clever and a master debater. And Sachaka, one time, he put up a sign. He said that I would challenge anybody in debate. And anyone I debate, I'm so good at being a debater that I'll make them shake and shiver and tremble. Even if I were to debate a rock or a stick, I would make it shake and tremble and sweat. How much more any person? So he put up that sign, and when he put up that sign, he saw one of the Buddha's monks passing by. His name was Venerable Asaji. And Venerable Asaji was also one of the first 5 disciples of the Buddha. So he stopped Venerable Asaji and he asked him, Venerable Asaji, how does the Buddha instruct his disciples? And the Venerable Asaji told him, the body, the feelings, the perceptions, the thoughts, and consciousness are impermanent and not self. And Sachaka thought, oh, that's terrible. Perhaps I can meet the Buddha soon and I can remove him of that evil view. And so he told everyone that there was a lot of people gathered in Vesali at this time. He said, everyone, come everybody, I'm gonna go and debate the Buddha. And if what Asaji said is true, it's not gonna be good for the Buddha. And he started giving examples. He said, just like if a strong man were to take a goat by the horns and to drag him like that, that's what I'm gonna do to the Buddha. Or if a brewer were to take one of these things to brew the pot, that's what I'm gonna do to the Buddha too. And so the people, the Lichavis, they started thinking, what? No, nobody could do that to the Buddha. And then other people started thinking, oh yeah, he's a good debater. He might be able to do that to the Buddha. So everyone, they followed him to go see the Buddha. The Buddha was staying at a park, and in the park, there was next to the woods. So he got to the park and he asked, where's the Buddha? They said he's in the woods. So he goes to see the Buddha. And when he sees him, he's with a lot of people. And all of them introduce themselves. Some introduce themselves with the proper respect. Some introduce themselves naming their clan and their warrior caste. Other people just sit down and don't say nothing. Eventually, though, Sachaka tells the Buddha, sir, how do you instruct and how do you discipline your monks? And the Buddha tells him the same thing that Asaji tells him. He says that the body, the feelings, the senses, the thoughts, and consciousness is impermanent and is not you. And he says, oh, a simile occurs to me. Just like everything depends on the earth to grow and to mature, in the same way, all of our actions depend on the self. And on the self, we create either merit or demerit. And so the Buddha is saying, what are you saying? Are you saying that the body is yours? That the feelings are yours? That thoughts are self? And he says, yes, I'm saying that. In fact, everybody thinks that. And the Buddha says, hold on a second. Confine yourself to your own views and leave everybody out of this. And he says, okay, then I say that the body is self, the mind is self, the thoughts are self, the feelings are self, and consciousness is the self. And the Buddha said, well, then let me ask you a question then. He said, what do you think? Do you think that a king, for example, King Ajasattu of Magadha or King Pastanadi of Kosala, do they have the right to execute, imprison, ban, fine anyone within their realm? And he says, oh yes, they have the right to do that. Even the city that they were in Vesali, it was ruled by an oligarchy. They didn't have a monarch. So they did things in a democratic way. And he said, even people that live in oligarchic systems like these lichavis, even they have the right to execute, to ban, and to imprison people. How much more so a head anointed king like Ajasatu, and rightfully so. So the Buddha said, well, what if the king came and he wanted to remove your head or to take your head off? Can you tell him, oh, this is my body, this is myself, don't touch me? And then when he said that, Sachaka stayed quiet. And then he asked him again, can you tell the king, oh, this is my body, don't touch my body, this is myself? And then he just stayed quiet. And then on the third time, the Buddha said, you must answer now. And when he said that, a spirit appeared in the sky. And this spirit, it had a thunderbolt. And it started going like that. And when he started going like that, the Buddha looked up and Sachaka looked up. And Sachaka became very alarmed and terrified. And he ran behind the Buddha and took refuge. And he said, please ask me again, I'll ask. And the Buddha said, what do you think? Can you make your body be like this or not like this? He said, no, sir. And he says, the Buddha said that, what do you think? Do you think that clinging to something that is impermanent, subject to change, do you think you could be happy like that? And he said, no. And so eventually, the Buddha starts to explain the levels of the sainthood of Buddhism. Like the ultimate goal is arahantship, but before that we have levels of sainthood. Like the first one is Sotapanna, stream enter. The next one is Sakadagami, once returner. Anagami, non-returner. Arahant, fully enlightened. The first things for the first Sotapanna is you have to let go of this clinging to the self. So now I would just like to talk about how we can apply this, how we can live like this. So the Buddha identified 3 foundations of mindfulness. There's 4 actually, but 3 of them are part of the aggregates. The first one is mindfulness of the body. The second one is mindfulness of your feelings. And the third one is mindfulness of your mind. So this is Kaya Nupassana, mindfulness of body. Veda Nupassana, mindfulness of your feelings. And Chitta Nupassana, mindfulness of your mind. And the way that we can practice this is being aware of how these things condition each other. Like, for example, our body has sense organs. And our sense organs, they receive information from the senses. So, for example, the eyes see forms, the ears hear sounds, the tongue tastes flavors. So when we have this contact, feelings arise. So if we like something, it tastes very good, we have this pleasant feeling, and that creates craving. If we don't like something, if we hear something that's very unpleasant, then this aversion arises. So the way to be mindful of our body is to be aware of our senses, to be mindful of these feelings that are arising, and to see the impermanence of it. Like it arises, like if you see someone that you don't like, you don't feel comfortable, but then they leave and then the feeling goes away. So we're mindful of all of that. We're not identifying with that feeling. We're not saying, oh, I'm angry and I'm upset. We just realize that there's this feeling that comes, but it will go. And consciousness, the way to be mindful of consciousness is the way that Buddhists see consciousness is that it's sixfold. It depends on the senses. Like when you see something and you're aware of that, then the eye consciousness is arising. When you hear something and you're aware of what you're hearing, that's sound consciousness. When you taste something and you remember that, oh, I tasted that before, I remember that, that's like flavor consciousness. So consciousness too depends on something, it arises. So all these things together, they're what makes this illusion of the self, but there's no selfhood there. It's just a kind of a process happening. Like there's a saying that there's speaking, but there's no speaker. There's hearing, but there's no hearer. There's walking, but there's no walker. They're just things that are happening, but there's really no person that it's happening to. There's no essence there. So maybe a way to understand this is the Buddha's teaching has two parts. There's the conventional part, and then there's the ultimate part. Conventionally speaking, yes, there's a self. My name, who am I? But ultimately speaking, there's no self. You know, you're here for a little while, you pass away, and then you get forgotten. And so I think, in my opinion, what the Buddha was trying to do is he was trying to help us to remove this kind of self-consciousness and open our eyes to a kind of more holistic understanding, to a way that we can see without the self, without the kind of filter of the self. And so I think that's my talk for today. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Ananda. It is very very wonderful talk, but it is very difficult subject also, because this anatma is not easy to understand. Most people is asking this all the time question about what is that, no self meaning. Anyway, if you have any question or any comment, you can we have time, we can discuss right now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the talk.
Good.
Just in regards to the five aggregates, the body, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we cling to them.
Right.
So here's a little curveball question. Okay. So over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
I was with my wife, and then this dog adoption agency, they were there. You know, long story short, can you adopt this dog? No. And my rule, no. And then right now, my wife has this feeling that if we don't adopt the dog, we're gonna put the dog down, right? And I've tried to see it as it's a feeling, because at the end of the day, every dog in the dog pound is gonna be put to sleep if the dog we're not adopted. So the cleanliness to the feeling of any dog I see in general,
Mm-hmm.
right? Would that be an example? I'm clinging to this feeling that I have to save every dog, because at the end of the day, that feeling with happiness, with like you mentioned, this is the survival of dogs. So is there something moral or human to try to save the dog so they won't put them to sleep, or is it just this cleanliness of our thoughts of, hey, we should save not just this dog but any other dog?
I think definitely there's an element of kind of like guilt, this feeling that, oh, I need to do more. But I think it's about karma. If you save the dog, you make good karma. If you don't, then you don't make no karma. There's nothing to feel guilty about. But yeah, like, you know, if you have that guilty feeling, no, you might, maybe someone does. It will be there for a little while. But then when you stop seeing the dogs and stuff, when you see the dogs and they're all puppies and stuff, you feel bad. That feeling comes like you want to help. Eventually, you're going to forget about that though. Like, feelings are impermanent. And we know we don't identify with that, like, oh, I'm, you know, not helpful to dogs or something. This would be an identifying with that feeling. But yeah, the feelings come and go, and sometimes we have bad feelings, sometimes we have good feelings, sometimes we have feelings against people. But, you know, just understanding, you know, like these perceptions and stuff like that, we picked them up from somewhere. We learned that when we were kids, but they're not us. They're just happening to us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like the karma part.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can, you know, like the Buddha said one time that if you knew what I knew, you would use every opportunity to make good karma. So, you know, just look at it like that. Like, if you can do good karma, do good karma. But yeah.
Thank you. I have connect.
Thank you so much, Ananda, for your wonderful and amazing talk. It's a profound and deep talk. And I love the part you brought here for, for the audience and for every one of us. Like, there's something called the conventional truth and also the ultimate truth. In the conventional truth, of course, we go through a lot of feelings, sensations, one can deny it. It's very, very hard to be away from it. But when it comes to the ultimate truth, of course, there is nothing, there's no something called we can accept as self. So whatever the way you touched, as Bante Shanti said, something with a deep topic. Of course, I appreciate it, I value it because every day we listen to the talks, and this is my perspective, this is my idea. Like, so we have a regular audience here, IBMC regular audience. I know everyone, Ananda knows everyone, and so you are a regular audience. So every day we are here, we are listening to talks, but of course we are talking about our well-being, everyday life. But if we can go deeper and deeper into these beautiful teachings, and that's wonderful. Of course, we have to make this life better, but we also have a life after this. So if we can touch and go deeper into these topics and discuss, it's a wonderful thing. And yeah, we have to accept that. Like, we have to understand it. Like as Bante Shanti said, those topics are very deep, but so much the better if we can take time to understand things rather than always talking about the well-being, the everyday life. Of course, we have to. This is my idea. This is my perspective, and I have also thought like I should bring more and more topics that discuss that touch, the deeper topics in the Theravada, in Mahayana, whatever it is, in Buddhism. So it can benefit us a lot. So I'm not going to touch whatever the things you said because I should have something saved in my account for my talks. So I appreciate your talk. It's a wonderful topic. And yes, I should allow the others, and I want to respect others' questions and answers, comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bante. I just yes, sir.
I would like to second that comment. Thank you for the talk. I think difficult thing to discuss also. And I think that the Sangha and mature practitioners, people who have been in this life for a while, they can show life can be lived. Because part of the attachment of someone who's new, say, Buddhism or this message, is that in the clinging, they also have an anxiety and fear of losing life as they know it, losing their life. There's always that. Not to blame, because the survival is wrapped around the lizard brain. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but by demonstrating, we have a feast and we do ceremony, we're happy, we have satsang, we have fellowship, we have brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Then we show there is a life to be lived, and so there's nothing to be lost. A person can become full of that fellowship, and like the water that can carry the boat for them, and take them past their doubt. Because and that's better because they're struggling with holding on to something that they never ever had. So thank you for your message.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming all the time too. I'm glad that you're here and we see you all the time. And maybe just one last clarification. The Buddha said that these things are not self because they're not in your control, and you cannot control them. Like, you cannot control your body. If you could control your body, you could keep your body young and you could keep your body from getting diseases. Nobody could do that. So in that sense, it's not under your control. When you meditate, you understand your mind is not even under your control. Like, you could look at the most beautiful image, the thing that you like the most, focus on it. You're not gonna be able to focus on it for a long time. You're gonna get distracted. So that's how the Buddha said that things are impermanent, and things that are impermanent, he asked Sachaka, is something that is impermanent. Is that suffering? Sachika said yes. Why is that suffering? It's because let's say you get that whatever you want. Let's say you get that perfect body, or you get that mansion, or whatever you want. You're always gonna now try to protect it. You're always gonna try to keep it. You're always gonna try to keep it the same way, and it's not, because things are just gonna get older. They're gonna deteriorate. So even in getting happiness, sometimes is a kind of suffering, because it's not gonna stay like that. So the Buddha's, he's this is something that is not like I can talk to you about it, but you're not gonna get it. This is something that you really have to go and meditate on, and you have to kind of see deeply that these things, they're not yours. They're it's just happening to you. But yes, Paul.
Often for Westerners, anatta can start to breed some forms of nihilism
Mhm.
because the self is so intensely focused on and conditioned in this part of the world.
Mhm.
Are there skills or points of focus that can help steer away from that towards the kind of more ultimate truths that Pineapple was discussing?
Definitely. So I believe that anatma, practice with loving kindness, is great, because you can maybe like start to go into the direction of nihilist, no self. But if you interact with people, if you have relations with people that is like nurturing, encouraging, like the Buddha was a great example of that. When he would come, and in this case right here is a very different, because the guy got threatened by the Deva. And usually the Buddha is very compassionate towards people. But if you practice loving kindness, practice attentive listening, practice making people feel seen and heard, that's the way to kind of like have great relations without becoming a full-blown nihilist. So I think practice like loving kindness, practice virtue, and you'll live a happy life. Even you don't need to have a big self or a big ego. That actually gets in your way. Like I think at a certain point, like people in this society think that you need to have a big ego, you need to have a lot of confidence and stuff like that. But after a certain point, if you become like a great athlete or a great musician, if you continue to think like that, you're gonna deteriorate, because you're not gonna take advice, you're not gonna make changes. Maybe what was the question again?
You guys.
Okay, good. Yep. You have a question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for your wonderful talk. Very complex topic. You made it sound easy to begin to understand it.
Thank you so
Took
much.
me years to get a feeling
Yeah.
and acceptance of that. But you know,
Yeah,
set the path.
it was hard. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't know there's a self, there's a self. But like the Buddha, he's a great teacher, and he made it very clear, like,
You were pretty good today too.
thank you so much. It's easy to look smart when you're doing the suttas. Hi, Tip.
Hey, Ananda, thank you so much. I just want to say that, yeah, it's a very complex topic. It's in depth, but the Buddha, and as well as you it's taught it so simply. It's so simple as long as you're receptive to understanding it. And I think when it clicks for you, it clicks for you, and that's just. I know that the Buddha didn't believe like that we shouldn't have blank faith, right? But when it makes so much sense to you, it's just so simple. You just follow. It's like 1, 2, 3. And you made it easy to understand that. You're like teaching from the Buddha. Directly. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Tip. Appreciate that. We should take questions from the YouTube.
All right. Thank you, Ananda, again. It is wonderful talk, as everybody mentioned, but it's a very difficult topic. And I am personally very happy because Anand is getting more credit this time. Of course, last time also he's getting good credit. But Ananda, your father, I remember your father exactly, you know. His father is one of our good friend, not only me. He used to come to IBMC every Sunday. He's Karuna's good student also. And he's not with us now, but he's a very good medical doctor, helping to all the monks, Buddhist monks, all the Buddhist monks go to the Ananda's father's clinic, and he treat very well for every month. One time I remember I was just come to this country after the 1 year maybe, 6 months later, I got sick, no insurance, nothing to do, where to go, anything. So doctor was here the same Sunday. He said, okay, let's go to Bhante, my clinic. He took right away. It was closed, his clinic that day. He took me there and he treat me very well, you know, take care of everything. So Ananda, you're doing good karma and good
Thank you,
kusala
Bhante.
karma.
Thank you, Bhante. And this is real. When you do good karma, there's a lot of good benefits. Like there was a Sri Lankan restaurant right here on Olympic, and I went to eat there. And the guy was there with his wife, and his wife said, you know, when I came from Sri Lanka, I went to go see your dad. She knew who I was. And he took care of me and he gave me medicine and he didn't charge me. And she said, here, have some tikka masala. And you see, I didn't do that. My dad did that, but I'm getting all of the merits for that. So what you do, the good things that you do, there's real powerful benefits to that. Maybe not for you, but maybe for your family, maybe for your neighbors. And so the Buddha said like this, like, just like the light of one candle can be used to light 100 other candles and the fire will not get lost or extinguished, in the same way, the happiness that you have, by sharing it with others, you don't lose it yourself or you don't get less of it. So thank you, Bante, for saying about my dad.
Of course, your dad is not charging for all of any Buddhist people. Where whoever go there, it's not charging anything. Sometimes, you know, a lot of things doing like X-ray, EKG, all kind of test, everything is cost a lot of money. You know about this country.
Yeah.
But he never charged
Yeah.
for anybody. Not only monks, the lay people also. So thank you, Ananda, again. We'll chant page 4 and page 10.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, dhammam saranam gacchami, sangham saranam gacchami. In these are numberless, I vow to save them all. Deluding passions are impossible. I vow to save them all. Dharma gates are limitless. I vow to save them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the gift of fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find help free.
Thank you again for your today, and we are out here cookies. Next Sunday, September, October, yes, October, the coming Sunday, October 5th. Kusal is going to speak. Please come and join. And again, I want to say thank you, Ananda. And last week we all are missed here. Some case we have to go to some other place. That's why we are not here last time. And October also, I think at least 2 Sundays. So monks have to go different places because of the special ceremonies, cardinal ceremonies, so offering ceremony, going every temple, October whole month. So we have to go some other places also, but we don't know. I think the one is around 23rd or 24th, and I oh, maybe 24th. Five. Yes. So all the monks going, but service is going here. Don't worry. Please come and join with us. Again, thank you for everybody. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, you all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.